Exciting news, Arrow fans, we have now got official confirmation by the CW that we are going to be seeing the reappearance of the Suicide Squad in Arrow Season 7, Episode 11. So just in case you're wondering why episode 11 in particular is the one that was chosen to reintroduce the Suicide Squad to Arrow, it's because episode 11 of this season is actually being directed by John Diggle himself, David Ramesy. He's directing this episode, and obviously because the Suicide Squad was very integral to Diggle as a character, who was also very tied to that storyline, they are going to be a good foil for Diggle and are also going to be a good place to be introduced once again into Arrow. Now, when I first read this news, the first thing that instantly jumped out to me was, I thought they couldn't use the Suicide Squad anymore. But I think I know how they're getting around it, because they're not actually calling the group the Suicide Squad this time. While it is the same idea, it is funded by Argus, it is a bunch of criminals helping Diggle and helping Argus, it's the same concept, they're just not using the name Suicide Squad, because that is currently at Warner Brothers on the film side, you know, the film division of Warner Brothers, so the TV division can't actually use that name. They can still use the concept, but not call it the Suicide Squad. Or the Squad, or whatever. So instead, it's being called the Ghost Initiative, which is a pretty generic name. It's a pretty, you know, just whatever. I mean, a name doesn't really mean anything, but, you know, it's just that's what they're calling it. So it's gone from the Suicide Squad to the Ghost Initiative, and it's, again, funded by Argus, led by Diggle. Lila is going to be behind the scenes, and we're going to see how this is all going to play out. And we also know who the new members are who are going to be making up the Ghost Initiative. So firstly, we have Ricardo Diaz, who's going to be a new member to this team, and Diaz is a really interesting one to go with, because obviously Diaz, or Kirk Acevedo, is now a series regular for Arrow Season 7, and I was questioning that because I was thinking to myself, well, how is he going to be a series regular when he's now been in prison? He's been defeated, he's been incarcerated. How are they going to bring him into the season story? How is he going to be a series regular without feeling like he's just milling around? Like, how is he actually going to be a part of this story? Now, if they are introducing the Suicide Squad again, or the Ghost Initiative, and they're going to be a big part of this season, then that would explain why he is a series regular, is that he is going to be a big part of this team, and he's going to be working very closely with Diggle. And I think that's going to be really interesting, actually, having him work closely with Diggle, because even though obviously Diaz has a very close connection to other members of Team Arrow, like Oliver, it's going to be interesting because really, you know, Diaz's first introduction to the show was when Diggle was the Green Arrow last season. So with that, you feel like he actually has a bit more of a closer connection to Diggle, and he's always had this little edge with Diggle. He's always had this little thing, because they always have a little fights together and things like that. They always have their little moments. And again, it's because obviously Diggle used to buy drugs from Diaz. So they have a lot of history, Diggle and Diaz. So to put them on the same team together, I think is actually a really fun idea. We also have China White joining the team. China White is a character who's been around in Arrow since Season 1, and I think that's awesome, the fact they're finally bringing her back. She was actually one of my theories when we were, you know, if you remember a video a few months ago when we were speculating about which villains might show up in Slabside with Oliver, I thought China White was maybe a potential. Now, China White was a really awesome character. Obviously, she is the leader of the Triads within Star City, and she was a really awesome character, a very grounded villain that really showed, especially back in 2012, 2013, that Arrow was this really grounded, realistic superhero tale. And I think that she really helped emphasize that point. So to bring her back in, especially in Season 7, which has really gone for that grounded tone once again, I think it's a perfect fit. And I think the last time we saw China White was Season 5, Episode 14, the Sin Eater, and she was kind of put away in prison then, so she's going to come back out and help Diggle, help the Suicide Squad, and I think that's a really awesome concept to bring her back into it, because she's just one of those characters who really brings you back to the lineage of Arrow. And we also have Carrie Cutter returning as Cupid. I could do without this one, to be honest. This is the only member who was previously a Suicide Squad member. Obviously, she was a member of the squad in Season 3. Yeah, I could do without this one, to be honest. Cupid is not a good character. I really did not have any need or desire to have her return. I feel like if they still had Deadshot available, they would use Deadshot, but Cupid is just a really annoying character, quite frankly. I'm not looking forward to this. I really hope they kill her off because she's so bad. She's just one of those really cringy, poor villains that Arrow did in its Season 3, Season 4 time, when it was having a bit of an identity crisis. So, yeah, I just feel like Cupid is one of those ones. She ties it back to the original squad, but, you know, even she wasn't like an OG member of the squad, so it's a bit of a weird one. I could do without that choice, but we'll see what they do. And finally, the most exciting member in my opinion is Kane Wolfman, otherwise known as Joe Wilson. Slade's son is a member of this team. This is fantastic. I think this is a great choice. I love Joe Wilson as a character. I thought he was fantastic in Season 6. I love the actor who plays him, Liam Hall. I think he's great. I think he was actually a really interesting, really deep, very emotional character who you actually almost felt sorry for in a way, and kind of understood where he was coming from, and I really enjoyed it, and the dynamic between him and Slade was great. And I always said, you know, I would love for them to bring him back at some point, because he has some really cool stories they could do with his character and the Jackals and things like that. So if they're bringing him back for the Suicide Squad, I think that's a great idea. And also, I will take back a criticism I gave to the Elseworlds crossover. In the crossover, I said that I felt like the introduction of Kane Wolfman in the crossover, where he came out as Deathstroke and had like quick fight and then eventually just got arrested, I said that was a waste. I felt like, you know, that was just a waste of that character. We could have had some cool stories. But if that's what they needed to do, like if they needed to get him out there in order to get arrested, in order to get into prison so they can use him for the squad, then I guess I will let it slide. Because in terms of like stories for Kane Wolfman, I can't really think of a better one than putting him on the Suicide Squad. I think that's a great idea, and again, I love that character. I wonder if we'll see Slade show up. I mean, I heavily doubt it, but if they can use the Suicide Squad again, can they use Deathstroke again? I mean, that would be really awesome, and if they can, this could be the perfect entry point for Slade to come back into the show. My only sort of question is, where's Bronze Tiger? Because Bronze Tiger, if you remember this season, has kind of been redeemed. He almost went down this redemption arc in the prison storyline, and he actually ended up helping Oliver in episode 7, and they worked together that entire episode. And Michael Jai White was absolutely fantastic in that episode and did a really good job of showing that this guy is not actually as evil as we first thought. And Bronze Tiger was, of course, an OG member of the Suicide Squad. Where's he? Especially because Oliver said, you know, in prison, I'm going to get in contact with Argus, I'm going to help you, I'm going to, you know, sort some things out. So is Oliver going to stay true to his word, or is he just going to leave, you know, is he going to leave Ben in there? Because the last time we saw Ben Turner, he was stuck in prison. Like, he got back into his cell after the whole slab-side destruction thing. So is he still there, or has he got out? Like, we don't know what happened to him, so we're still waiting on that one. But I feel like it would be a really awesome move. Like, instead of Cupid, they should have had Bronze Tiger, because he's just a much better choice. And like I say, especially because he's been so relevant this season, it would have made a lot of sense. But do the Suicide Squad or the Ghost Initiative, do they have a future on Arrow? Well, it seems like at the moment this could very much be a one-off, especially because, I mean, in the past, the Suicide Squad has pretty much had like maybe 1-2 episodes a season, so it could be a one-off thing once again. But like I said earlier, because people like Kirk Acevedo is now a series regular for Arrow, I have to feel like maybe they could be doing this. And is this what Diggle's storyline is this season? Because we don't actually really know what Diggle's story is yet. He hasn't really had one. We've had the whole idea with the Dante painting, like what him and Curtis have been investigating, but this could be tied to that. Like, this is how they investigate that, is they need someone or a group of people to lead the charge, and they get, you know, they recreate the Suicide Squad. So I feel like this could be tied in. So is this what Diggle's storyline is? I feel like if it is, that is a really great storyline, because Diggle really needs a good storyline. He hasn't had one for a while, and he got one in season 6, but it was a terrible one and did an awful job with his character. So Diggle really needs a good storyline, and if this is what it is, him basically becoming Rick Flag and, you know, taking on the Suicide Squad, I think this is the perfect choice. So thank you guys for watching this episode of DC Central. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. If you want to see more from me, make sure you follow me on social media. My links are in the description down below and also popping up on screen right now. And as always, I hope to see you again in the next episode.